Okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest cohort of software developers. Today, we are here to witness their pitches as they present their capstone projects to a bunch of members of the public, friends, family, classmates, colleagues, and a couple of very esteemed guests. The way today will work is I'll introduce myself, Circuit Stream, and then we'll get right into pitches. Okay. So a few things before we begin today. The event will be a little bit under 2 hours. Only our presenters and partners can go up on stage to speak, but everybody in attendance is encouraged to participate in the chat. So if you have questions, comments, kudos, feel free to put that in there. It's really great to see encouragement from the public when we present. Additionally, throughout the pitches, we will be playing some embedded YouTube videos. So these will be played at full volume on our end, but you might need to adjust your volume on your own computers as well. And then a reminder to both our guest speakers and our presenters, please make use of the moderator chat for anything you might have that is more internal. To start off with, my name is Maddie. I'm the Partnership Development Manager at Circuit Stream. My role is to find and maintain relationships with employer partners and event partners. Ultimately, my goal is to get job seekers in our career program for our software development boot camps closer to jobs to help them build their networks and to ideally get them hired. So I have brought several esteemed guests in today who I'm very excited for you all to meet. Some of the guests in attendance are hiring managers. Some of the ones speaking today are technical roles. A lot of them are in leadership as well. My hope is that this is an opportunity to network, to connect, and to chat about the software industry. I'm also joined by Tia, who will be up on stage in a moment. Tia will introduce herself. Tia is our lead career coach, so she has been working very closely with all of our guests or all of our presenters today to polish their pitches, to get them prepared, and to ultimately help them start their job searches. So the way today will work is I will be kicking off the event. We will then do some partner introductions. So our wonderful guest speakers will introduce themselves. We will introduce the capstone project, and then we will introduce the graduate pitches and our wrap up. These timings are in Mountain Time, which is where I am in Calgary. So a little bit of background before we begin. Circuit Stream began back in 2015 through a network of developers and designers and creators. We are now a leading provider of technology education in game development, game design, product management, and software development. Our primary goal is to provide future-proofed and industry-relevant skills to folks who are looking to pivot into tech, to upskill their tech skills, or to learn more about the technical aspects of their industries. Our secondary goal is to prepare our bootcamp graduates for jobs in their preferred industry through events like this, through one-on-one connections, through engaging with our partner networks, things like that. Since our start in 2015, we've educated over 50,000 learners globally, and we're constantly updating our curriculums to stay ahead of the curve. So if anyone in the audience has questions about Circuit Stream, you can send them my way. We are also educational partners with several top universities across North America to provide our boot camps. So our boot camps are delivered in partnership with these universities, which is really exciting and something that our students get a co-branded micro-credential when they finish our boot camps. In parallel to the technical programs that we offer, we also provide optional career programs to our bootcamp students. This program provides ongoing support for students who are keen to start job hunting right after graduation and to make sure that they're prepared to find jobs. So everyone who is pitching today, all of the students, they are in our career program, which means they are hoping to become software engineers someday. So through this program, we support them with their careers, their professional development, and we take pride in providing opportunities to connect our learners with industry partners and things like that. So for those of you in attendance today, if you are a company looking to find some really great talent, or if you are interested in learning more about what we do, my email is up on screen, and I can also put it back up on screen at the end of the event. But really keen to show off what our incredible graduates do. You will see some more about what they've been doing today, and it's pretty amazing. So, okay, it is now time for our guest speakers to introduce themselves. So if I could please call up on stage Jeff, Casey, Mitchell, and Hannah. Everyone join stage, and then I will introduce you one at a time. So first up, we have Jeff Neufeld, who is the, correct me if I'm wrong, you are the Senior Software Development Manager at Helsum? No, you are the Director of Software Development at Helsum.
Yeah, I'm the Director of Software Development at Helsum. Helsum is a financial technology company. We are a scale-up in Calgary, getting more and more known. We are a payment facilitator. If you don't know what that means, if you've ever gone to a store and tapped your card on the terminal, we kind of power all the stuff that happens in the back end to make sure the merchant actually gets the money. I've been at Helsum for about a year. I've had a fairly long career as a dev manager. Spent 14 years at Microsoft in Seattle. Spent another 4.5 years at Amazon, which felt like 14 years. And yeah, then I moved up to Calgary as to try something a little different, and it's been a lot of fun. Helsum's a great company. We have a development organization of about just under 50 people right now, and we are actively building some of the next generation products. So thank you very much for inviting me. I'm really looking forward to how this is going.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Quick follow-up question for you. What would you say is the biggest difference between working in big tech versus working in a scale-up?
In a scale-up, every single person I hire makes a difference to the company. Every single person makes a difference to the bottom line. Really, every single person contributes to the success of the company. If you're working at Amazon, where there's about 140,000 people in head office, I worked in Alexa Smart Home, really configuring how Alexa responds to smart home commands, which was really cool. I got to come home and try the stuff that I was doing, but in terms of actual impact to the bottom line, it was like a little tiny bit. So you really feel more of an impact and really more empowered working for a scale up versus big tech.
Awesome, cool, interesting. It's always fun to hear the inside baseball, so to speak. Thank you, Jeff. We're happy to have you, and let's move along to Mitchell. Mitchell, you can go ahead.
Thanks. I'm Mitchell. I'm a staff developer at Loblaw Digital. We sort of exist within Loblaw. Loblaw Companies Limited, Canada's largest grocery retailer. I want to say like 400,000 employees across our store network, store support, everything. Loblaw Digital is kind of like a startup within this very big enterprise. So we are responsible for most of the digital products it would use from our company today: grocery pickup, the Shoppers Drug Mart app, all of the mobile apps. My responsibility lies primarily in the realm of PC Optimum. If anyone is in Canada, you're probably very aware of PC Optimum. It's Canada's most popular loyalty program. I am the lead developer responsible for all of the back-end systems that power that experience, whether it be the PC Optimum app, PC Express. You go to any of our retail websites, GeoFresh, Shoppers Drug Mart, anything loyalty goes through the services that we build and maintain. Crazy scale as well, looking at hundreds of millions of transactions a day through our APIs, so making sure everything stays up and it's fault tolerant. It's all very important, keeping the lights on as we continue to help Canadians live life well. And what's great about working in loyalty is, we're not trying to sell you anything. We're trying to give you points that you can then go and buy whatever it is you're looking for. So it really is nice to be able to deliver that to our customers on a daily basis.
That is really interesting. And I know I'm a PC Optimum user myself, but I can imagine the pressure if something goes down or there's a bug or something, the immediate feedback you would receive from millions of customers probably. What would you say is something about a loyalty program that most people don't know?
Honestly, it's the scale. You think, you open your mobile app every week, you see, there's 30, 40 offers there. I can go, but you have to think about from an end-to-end perspective. There's a system responsible for when those offers are created, so that you can see those when you log in with your account. It goes to our point of sale systems in the stores. If you've ever been in a grocery store and lost cell service, you know that internet in those large concrete buildings is very challenging. So making sure that all of the various tills, whether it's, you're going to a lane with a cashier, you're going to self-checkout, you're doing an online order, all of those systems need to be kept in sync. And there's a lot of data moving between back end to store. It's the scale at which we operate is astounding.
Cool. Yeah, it's interesting to hear about all the places that there's software that us non-technical lay folk have no idea. Well, thank you so much for being here, Mitchell.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks. Next up, we have the incredible Casey Thayer. So Casey, you have a really cool job. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So hi, everyone. I'm Casey Thayer. I run the data engineering team at the Philadelphia Phillies, working in the front office. So my team is responsible for ingesting and managing all the external and internal data that power our applications for decision making within the front office. There's a ton of data provided to us across a number of sources, things like player and ball positions multiple times per second during games across the majors and the minors. So our job is to sort of like make sense of it all and get it ready for modeling or aggregating metrics that provide useful information on like deciding who to play or who to trade for and things like that. So before joining the Phillies, I was at a small sports analytics consulting company where I built out their NBA engineering platform. So we worked with 5 NBA teams and supported their internal analytics teams. And my journey to sports actually started with about 7 years in the biotech industry. So I was mostly started my career as a lab technician and then switched into software engineering within biotech and then made the jump to sports. So a bit of a roundabout path, but that's not totally uncommon in the sports analytics field these days.
Interesting. I think some people might describe, in the realm of software engineering, the ability to combine your love of sports with software is really cool and really unique. How did you go about making the jump from biotech into sports?
Yeah, a lot of it was just working on side projects that interests me. I had a lot of questions as a sports fan and really liked trying to solve them through software or data. And so like building little applications that helped me try to like answer those questions, I think was a big part of that. And also kind of demonstrates your ability to be comfortable or have experience with that type of data, that type of thinking definitely helped in terms of getting my foot in the door.
Cool. Yeah, that's so cool. And I think that's something we tell our career program students as well is keep working on projects, keep building things, keep building your, your decks and your projects and all that stuff. So cool. Well, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. And last but certainly not least, we have Hannah Schaefer. And Hannah is a senior software engineer at Civic Roundtable. Welcome, Hannah.
Thank you so much, Maddie. So I'm currently a senior software engineer at Civic Roundtable, which is we're about 15 people right now, Series A startup that we build a platform that serves public servants at various organizations across the country, 70% at like the county, state, local level. And it facilitates interagency work and coordination. I, like many of you or all of you in the program at CircuitStream, I myself went to a software engineering bootcamp a bit over 7 years ago in San Francisco and completely fell in love with the career. I started out I've worked in about 5 different companies now. I started at Udemy, the online ed tech company. I moved to a small sensitive healthcare company called Nurex. And then from there, I moved to Envision, a design tech firm, then a 3-person, seed stage startup in fintech, and finally here at Civic Roundtable. So it's been quite a journey. And I think one of the things I love about software engineering is you can work across so many different industries that you're interested in. You can apply these skills to any mission or organization that you care about. And yeah, it's there's so much room for learning and growth as well.
That is fascinating. And I know, obviously, Jeff works for a scale up, but what would you say is your favorite part of working in a really, or not really early, but an earlier stage startup?
Well, it's very similar to what Jeff said, where like every single person has such a large impact. Like I can feel my own impact. You see the whole product change weekly, and it's very fulfilling to be also very close to your end users. You can you're very close to that like qualitative feedback on a pretty much daily basis. So there is a lot of satisfaction that comes with that as well.
Cool. Yeah, that's fascinating. I know Tia and myself at CircuitStream, we're in a fairly small team, but we're about 10 years old. But even still at this stage in our company, we're still feeling that impact person to person. So that's really cool. Awesome. Well, thank you, Hannah, and thank you to all of you for being here today. I'm really excited to kick off the presentations. So before you leave the stage, a couple reminders. After each presentation, we will invite all 4 of you back up on stage, and you guys can go ahead and jump in and just start asking questions or start giving comments right away, so you don't have to wait for us to nudge. But if you're all being extra polite, I can definitely volunteer one of you to go first. If the 4 of you can jump off stage, just click the little X at the top of your face on the screen, and we will call you right back up on stage in a few moments. So in the meantime, we will tell you a little bit about Pitch Day. I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Tia. Tia is the lead career coach for CircuitStream, and she will be taking over from here and introducing everything we do. So I will jump off stage. Tia, you can go ahead.
Awesome. So I'm really excited to talk about Pitch Day. I'm just going to give a little quick introduction about myself as well. So I know Maddie already introduced me, but I am Tia. I'm the lead career coach, and my main role is to support students in building job-ready portfolios, mastering the job search process, and also showing up with clarity and confidence when connecting with employers to help them land employment opportunities. And I also work closely with our internal team to ensure that students are showcasing their strongest selves and that our events highlight the incredible talent that we have in our community. So I've actually worked with the students that are presenting today to prepare for their pitches, so that I'm really very excited to kick off their pitches. But I'll just start with explaining a little bit about Pitch Day first. Okay, so the Software Development Bootcamp is an intensive 36-week live online bootcamp which prepares students for successful careers in software development. And the cohort that is presenting today actually started their bootcamp in October of 2024 and recently graduated. So at the end of their bootcamp, learners were given 4 weeks to create fully functional software applications. This gave them the opportunity to showcase their skills in software development and design. The criteria that their assignment was based on were architecture, code quality, framework, library usage, testing, debugging, devlog, and deployment. So today we have 4 pitches. We have 7 minutes for the pitches and then 10 minutes of Q&A. Once the pitch is done, Maddie will invite all the guests back on stage to begin the Q&A. So we have RX Hub by Lucia, Page Persona by Dylan, EasyFin by Shirley, and eMoness by Hamza. And first up, we have Lucia. So Lucia, I welcome you on stage to start your pitch.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for sharing a little bit about yourselves and your career paths and how you got where you are now. That was really interesting. So I'm Lucia. I'm new to software development. You can go to the next slide. Thanks, Tia. I'm just trying out software development after 35 years in the hospitality industry. So in 1 year, I went from 0 coding experience to building full stack applications. And my hospitality background taught me that the best help comes from understanding what people actually need, which is what inspired me to build RX Hub. Recovery is hard enough without coordinating the people trying to help you. I don't know if you've ever been stuck at home because of an injury or an illness, or if you wanted to help someone but you didn't know what to do. While I was recovering from surgery, I got lots of fresh flowers, which are really nice, but what I really needed was fresh juice and maybe my favorite, dry shampoo. Friends and family tried to help me, but I did not get the help that I needed, and there were too many surprise visits when I was trying to rest, things like that. And that's why I created RX Hub, so that patients can request what they need with specific delivery times, and volunteers can claim what works for their schedule. RX Hub provides a structured system for organizing meals, visits, and gifts. It turns chaotic good intentions into actual meaningful support. So let me show you how it works. The app is responsive across all devices with day and night RX Hub. And as you can see, there are no errors in the console other than the missing favicon options. Most people use their phones, so the following demo is in mobile view. Enjoy. Welcome to RX Hub. The user gets started by registering an account as either a patient or a volunteer. I'm going to log in as a patient. And show you the patient dashboard where you can create, read, update, or delete meals, visits, and gift items, and then generate a support link that you can share with volunteers so that they can log in and claim the items that you have created. So now I'm just logging in as a volunteer to show you what that looks like. So as it stands, this volunteer hasn't claimed anything yet, so nothing shows up there. The meal doesn't show up because it's already been claimed. So we'll claim these items, and then down here you can see them as claimed. You can unclaim them, or if you make a mistake, you can cancel that. And then we'll just log in one more time as the patient. So you can have a look at what it's like now. So Suzanne had already claimed this one, and then Chris claimed the chores and the dry shampoo, and no one has claimed the puppy yet, which is probably good. Let's just delete that. We don't really need a puppy. And that's it. Everything has been claimed, and now I can just relax and focus on recovering because I have awesome friends. So that's it. That's the RX Hub app. It's simple and stress-free for patients and volunteers. Next, I'll walk you through the timeline and tech stack and some things that I learned along the way. The app was developed in about 4 weeks, and quite a lot happened during that time. I'll just share a high-level overview, and then please feel welcome to ask for more details during the Q&A. So week 1 and 2 was the foundation. I built the back end with the user authentication and database API testing, created the login and registration pages and the role-based routing. Week 3, I did the core features with the patient and volunteer dashboards and the invite link, and I fixed session persistence so that volunteers could see their ongoing commitments. And I went from that major breakthrough to a major breakdown that I couldn't debug my way out of. So I git reset hard and rolled back about 14 hours of work to the commit hash where everything had been working. And then last week was launch week, so I made it responsive for all devices and added some small details for polish and confirmed all the tests passed. I did have some challenges with shared types when I tried to deploy, so I restructured my files a bit and celebrated when everything worked in production. Here's a quick visual of the tools and technologies that I used. I did choose the MERN stack because that's what we focused on in the bootcamp. That's MongoDB for the database and Express on Node.js for the backend, React for the front end. For styling, I chose Tailwind CSS because it works great with React and it lets you style the components right where you write them instead of managing separate complex style sheets. And I added TypeScript for code quality and reliability. And I learned to love it because it prevents the app from running with errors. And then, of course, Vite and Nodman made development nice and speedy because Vite shows front-end updates instantly in the browser, and Nodman automatically restarts the backend whenever the server changes. So that was good. I used Jest and Supertest to test backend functionality like authentication and the CRUD operations, vtest for the front-end components, and Postman for API testing and debugging. And then finally, I deployed everything on Railway, which is about $5 a month, but it worked really smoothly. And it's a tool that I would use professionally, so it's worth that small cost to keep my project live. I would say that my main takeaways from building the app are to commit working features regularly with clear messages so that there's a reliable restore point and you can cut losses rather than digging deeper into broken code. If one tool isn't working, then just try a different one because there are so many options available. And most of all, that building an application from concept to production is incredibly satisfying and fun. So thank you very much. I really appreciate you being here today. And I welcome your questions and your feedback. So I'll leave my contact slide up for a little bit, I think. And I think Tia's going to put my information in the chat if you want to click a link, and you can take a photo if you like, visit my portfolio, and please feel welcome to connect with me.
Awesome. Great job, Lucia. Thank you for going first. I know it's never easy to break the ice. Congratulations. Give yourself a pat on the back. That was awesome. So you have about 10 minutes of Q&A. So for our guest speakers, please come right back up on stage and you guys can go ahead and jump in. Whoever has something to say, or I will pick some.
I was curious, if I may jump in, like if you could do another feature next, what would you want to work on next for this application?
I think that I could add like a caregiver role. Maybe so right now there's the patient role and the volunteer role, but there could be like a caregiver role that kind of oversees both. That might be one area I would go to. Other features, well, it depends. Like if I was just going to keep this as a free thing, then I might not need to add much more. I do like the fact that it's very simple for just someone who doesn't have a lot of tech experience. However, there could be like a freemium version, perhaps, where there's different tiers, like a free tier and a maybe like a few more features, like for a next level tier or a premium tier, or even like an enterprise version where it could be like a white label solution for a hospital or a clinic. You know, they could put their name on it and add more, you know, like HIPAA or PIPEDA compliant privacy features, you know, make the security more robust. You could do a dashboard, like an analytics dashboard for care teams. You could add verified service providers. That's a long answer to a short question. Thanks.
No, those are all great ideas.
Mm.
Yeah, and also I meant to say amazing presentation. Really, thank you.
Hannah. That's nice of you to say. Thank you.
Yeah. I'd like to jump in and double down on that. I think the having the recording of the walkthrough, that is the way to go. The number of times that I have seen a live demo go up in flames because someone's trying to show something off that was in a test environment, someone else has deployed something in the meantime and everything is broken. It happens more often than you think in real life. So great to have that recording as the walkthrough because you never know what things are going to be like when you open it up. I wanted to ask a little bit about Postman. It's a tool that me and my team use regularly because we're working on back-end APIs. Was there anything that you would like to do as a next step in terms of documentation around the APIs and things that you were testing out through the software development lifecycle? I know that's something that that we're very strict on in keeping that documentation up to date. So just wanted to kind of get your thoughts on that.
I like that idea. One thing that my instructor got all of us to do is make sure that we could recreate our project from our own README. And that was very valuable because I did catch some things that I didn't explain well enough to someone who would be trying to run it. So I can see how documentation is super important, and I guess especially if I added more features. Does that answer your question a little bit?
It does. Something that I would take a look at as potential next step is as this gets bigger. I think Postman does have this option. I haven't tried it myself. We usually go the other way of we have the documentation, then build the Postman suite from it. But finding a way to export like an open API Swagger documentation or anything that you can then pass off to like as teams work on their specific platform. Typically, I mean, you will find a lot of teams, depending on the size, working across the entire stack. I've done it in the past, but right now focusing more on back end. I know it's always valuable for our front end engineers to have an up-to-date document that they can then just go on and build towards that spec, as opposed to having to wait until the services themselves are built. It allows for more of that parallelization of work, which is really useful depending on the size of your team as well.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that's definitely something I would like to learn more about. Thank you.
Hey, Lucia, that was a great presentation. Plus one to Mitchell's point about, yes, record your demo whenever you can. As someone that sees about 10 demos every 2 weeks, the number of them that fail is it's quite surprising. And these are from teams of professional developers. So, so good job there. Hey, I had a question. If you think about this getting traction, getting popular, how do you manage the fact that you could have many patients and many volunteers? I'm thinking it looks good when you've got 5 patients and 5 volunteers, and it's easy to demo. But let's say somebody discovers this thing, and now you have 1,000 patients and 10,000 volunteers. Was there a mechanism for, or can you envision a mechanism for a friend pool or geofencing? I'm just curious if you thought about what would happen if you actually got successful.
That's a good question. I would have to learn more about scaling up for sure. But from what I do know, when traffic increases, I would have to maybe do some horizontal scaling, like add more server instances running copies of the app.
Okay, but
Those-
just thinking about features, how would you, say you're a patient, how would you manage, or if you're a volunteer, how would you manage if you open this thing up and there's 1,000 patients and a few thousand requests? And what would you expect to look for? Where would you go to filter that? What would your next steps be in order to make this usable at scale?
Well, I'd have to learn more about that. As I gain more production experience, maybe that's something that I could answer better. at this point, I'm honestly not sure how to answer that. Jeff,
Okay.
so I'm sorry I can't satisfactorily answer that question, because in my mind, this is just a humble app that I'm proud of, but that is like such a large concept for me to try to process, that I haven't even honestly gone there. So thank
Yeah.
you for introducing that idea. Something that I have to think about.
It's the eternal problem. I mean, even before you have to start scaling your back end, it is quite possible that you overwhelm your UI, just because of the number of things that are happening. Heaven forbid that you actually get successful with this, and all of a sudden you've got that kind of problem. So it's a great problem to have, but it's always fun to think about that problem before you have it.
Okay.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great job. I wanted to touch on the developer experience. You shared a little bit of your timeline, and I was just curious if there was a particular moment or feature that like was a really big unlock for you, where things kind of started to flow afterwards, and what that felt like.
I like that question. It was a lot of, at first, honestly, I didn't really know where to start, so I thought that it would make the most sense to start with the back end and then build the UI. However, with one little internship I did, that's the opposite way that they did it. They did the UI first, and then the back end was created from that. So, but I started with the back end, and then when I got to add the UI, that was when it was really fun. So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but in maybe like week 3, going into week 4, then it really started to get fun, and all the pieces started to fit together like a puzzle, and I just had to, work out the bugs, and then that was really exciting.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wish I could relate more as more of a back end engineer. I spend so much time on the back end that I get to the front end and I'm like, what do I put here? So yeah, I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
One other thing I wanted to say is glad you discovered TypeScript. Having that strongly typed layer on top of JavaScript is so valuable. As someone with a primarily object-oriented Java background, I could never, like when I've done JavaScript, it's always kind of broken my brain. So having something like that sit as a layer on top of it, very good choice.
Thank you. Yes.
Awesome. So thank you so much for asking those questions. They were really great. And you can just hop off now and we'll be introducing the next pitch. And also, Lucia, thank you for your presentation. I love how you took something so simple as offering help and you turned it into such a structured system. Great job. And now we have Dylan, who's going to be presenting Page Persona. So Dylan, you can hop on stage and go for it.
Awesome, thank you very much. All right, so hello everyone, and thank you so much for being here. My name is Dylan Stosh, and today I'm excited to introduce you my project, Page Persona. It's about transforming web content using AI. A little bit about myself first. I'm a student here at CircuitStream. I consider myself to be a junior full stack software developer, and I really like expressing my creativity and adaptability and finding the right tools for the job for my projects. The internet speaks in one voice, but we don't all learn in the same way. It can feel like the web isn't built for how you learn, and that's something I felt firsthand. That frustration led me to look deeper into the issue, and here's what I found. I've come to the conclusion that the web is full of information, but not all of it makes sense for everybody. Most pages are written in one voice, and that voice doesn't always connect with everybody. One-size-fits-all content just doesn't work for how people actually learn. Dense articles, dry walls of text, it can feel like you're trying to read an alien language. People shouldn't feel left behind just because of how information is being presented to them. I wanted to build something that could meet people where they are. That's why I created Page Persona. It's an AI-powered tool that rewrites dense web content into personalized explanations tailored to the persona you choose. Whether you learn best through casual language, academic tone, or in the simplest terms possible, Page Persona adapts to you. So how does that actually work? Here's a quick example of what Page Persona can do. On the left, we've got a dense technical article about deep reinforcement learning. Unless you're super comfortable reading research papers, it's hard to even know where to start. But on the right, you can see Page Persona turns it into something very simple with the Explain It Like I'm 5 persona. The content gets broken into bite-sized sections, organized clearly, and rewritten in a way that's much more approachable. It's the same information, but now it's actually readable for those of us who learn differently. Now I'll show you a short demo of how the site works and what Page Persona looks like. When you first enter the site, you'll be greeted by the landing page. It'll explain how the program works and what it's used for. You can switch between light mode and dark mode at the top next to the Page Persona logo. And you can click Login to sign in with Auth0. Let's click Google and sign in with our Google account. All right, now we're signed in. Let's go to our profile so we can see our basic profile page. Here we can see how many transformations we have left this month. And let's transform. First, select your persona. Let's choose the Medieval Knight. And then we find our URL that we want to input. Let's put the URL in, and then click Generate. We just need to give it some time to contact the API. And now we've generated our new content. You can see the original text on the left, and on the right, we can go to full screen, see a summary and full text of the converted text. You can copy to clipboard, and you can close it. You can also view our history and quickly go between previous transformations. Here we go. So here's a quick breakdown of the weekly progress for my project from planning to deployment. The first couple of weeks were all about setting the foundation. I learned to design the UI in Figma, brainstormed features, and planned out the structure for my TypeScript v React project. Weeks 3 and 4 were a bit of a coding gauntlet, lots of trial and error. By the end, I had working authentication with Auth0, AI integration using OpenAI's API, and a MongoDB database to track users and usage. The final week was all about deployment. I ran into so many issues, I could probably talk about them for about an hour. But long story short, I got everything live using Render, Netlify, and Redis for caching. After a month of work, I'm proud to say I have a fully functional MVP. So what about the results of the project so far? To make sure everything works reliably, I wrote over 600 unit and integration tests covering both the front and back end. I also created 5 custom personas, the Explain It Like I'm 5, Anime Hacker, Medieval Knight, Plague Doctor, and Robot, each with its own unique vibe and voice to how the users want their content delivered. I learned a lot while building this application. One of the biggest things I learned was that spending an hour planning or sketching out an idea can save you 2 hours of coding in the dark. I also learned that the AI isn't autopilot. Sometimes it felt like it's helping, and then suddenly you're debugging for hours. I failed a lot throughout this project, but I found that every failure pushed me more and more to find better solutions, and that the end result made it even more worth it. So who benefits from this? Page Persona was built for people who usually get ignored when it comes to content design. Whether it's neurodivergent learners, students, or anyone who feels overwhelmed by dense academic or technical text. Around 15 to 20% of people are neurodivergent, and nearly half of Canadians read below a high school level. Page Persona gives them the power to choose how they learn best and apply that across the entire internet. So what's next? Now that the MVP is live, My focus is on adding features and getting feedback, especially from students, educators, and neurodivergent learners. Some features I'm already exploring are user-created personas, mobile app version, and even a browser extension. Long term, I'd love to partner with learning organizations or schools, help give students all kinds of tools so they can learn their own way. That's it. Thank you very much for listening. Once again, I was Dylan Stosh. I'd love to connect, whether it's for opportunities for collaboration or jobs or just talking about interesting software in the future. I'm really excited to keep growing this project, and I look forward to any questions you may have.
Amazing job, Dylan. Congratulations, and thank you for going. I think you've come a very long way since the first rehearsal, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank
Awesome. That was great. Guest speakers, please come up on stage and you guys can jump right in.
Well, I wanted to ask about your use of Redis. You talked about introducing later on this caching layer. What exactly were you looking to apply this caching to solve for your call them customers, users? Yeah,
Mhm.
users.
Yeah. So the main things I started out just using like inbuilt node caching for rate limiting and you can do a transformation, it stays in the cache. So that caching just for the general actual functionality of the site. So I found that when I tried to deploy it with the node thing, it didn't work very well. It's like not even made for that apparently. So I tried to switch to a Redis server. And that also worked very easily in the dev environment where it's just like, oh yeah, using local storage. But then yeah, deploying it a separate server on render and connecting it together. But yeah, sorry to answer your question, it was basically just for rate limiting users so that they don't, have bots spam it. Hopefully it's functional for that, or else I'm losing a lot of money from OpenAI.
I was going to say anytime you're keying into any of that tooling, it can get very expensive very quickly. So do be careful and make sure. I think the one thing that I would tell any front end engineer, make sure your API keys are not in the front end code.
Yeah.
Find a way to use some sort of authentication manager, whether it's Vault or some other KVI or key store in the background, and load those in at runtime. Don't have that be something that someone could scrape off your website, or you will see that overage charge come in from OpenAI or Netlify or any of these other platforms that folks are leveraging these days.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
That was a great presentation, Dylan. Thank you so much. It was great to see you using, Google Auth, the OpenAI API. You did a lot of integrations, which is really exciting to see. I wanted to ask about OpenAI. So the wonderful thing and the bad thing about generative AI is it will always give you an answer. Whether it is accurate or not accurate is, whether it hallucinates, it's up for grabs. So what would you do to begin thinking about evaluating the accuracy of the answers? So I know what your app is doing is, adjusting the voice for different people's styles to understand it. But but say you take in a research paper, the information that it takes in and then, communicates in a different way to the end user, it still needs to be accurate. So how would you begin thinking about how to evaluate the accuracy of the AI answers?
Honestly, for that, I feel like anything past what OpenAI already has for their inbuilt thing is probably a step beyond my capabilities at this moment, unfortunately. But my best guess would be to just use prompt engineering to ideally make it so it's as accurate as possible. And then since AI is obviously generative AI is always going to have hallucinations no matter what we do with our current technology, at least, I should probably put a warning to users that I realize I completely missed on putting a warning that it could generate something that's inaccurate. That's a very good point to bring up.
Just a thought for as you're thinking about that, if you're thinking about building out this app, there's really great tooling out there for setting up an evaluation system like LangFuse, LangChain. AWS itself is building out its own internal evaluation system that have where you built your golden set of what an answer for this paper should look like. and then they're basically what these two these LLMs as a judge have been created by these third-party tools to evaluate, to score at certain thresholds. So, I mean, it seems like you did a great job with integrating with OpenAI. It's a direction you're going into, and this is like the problem that we're all running into with using generative AI. So, definitely would check that out.
Well, thank you very much for that. That's actually really cool. I assumed that there would be something for that, but I didn't know that it was so so advanced already.
Of course, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, on a similar note, you mentioned a future feature being having the user create their own persona. How would you sort of think about validate whether what they're getting what they want out of their persona? So like if I want a very specific voice, how can you help me achieve that?
That's a good question. For helping them, I guess it's very difficult for me to interact with their personas as opposed to just them making a persona and then using it and them tweaking it themselves. So I'm not sure. I guess I can't give you a great answer for what I could do to help them do that. I could put maybe some information on the website for how to create a good persona, give them some tips and learn more myself about prompt engineering to make it more likely to be tailored to how they want it to be. But yeah, other than adding information for the users, I guess that's all I'd really think about doing, unless there's any other tactics you have in mind.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. I think, possibly building out the ability to interact with their persona to fine tune it even more, similar to some of the tools that OpenAI has now, could be useful. But yeah, I think that's great.
That's
direction.
great. Thank you.
Hey, Dylan, this was great, and I love how imaginative it was. It was a great thing. I'm curious, and I think you just touched on this. Would users be able to create their own personas, and if so, how do you guide them to build something that's actually useful?
Yeah, so I guess it's pretty similar. But yeah, currently no, they don't have that feature. Part of the reason was because, which I was worried someone might ask, is a moderation issue, which I'm sure OpenAI has a very strong, moderation on that end. But I have no experience moderating things like that myself. So that's one reason why I kept no custom AI as being a part of it. But it is definitely a feature I could very easily add a basic version of just like inputting basically the like title persona characteristics that I already put in the back end for the current personas. But yeah, in terms of guiding them, it would really just be, I could only give them basic information they require, like their name, their characteristics, what style they should talk in. And then like Casey said, I would love to have some more interaction with their persona so that they can tailor it more to them, like how they want it to be. I think that's a good idea.
I'm curious how many iterations did you take to create the prompts for each of the personas?
Honestly, like not a ton, because I'm not actually super like requiring these personas to be the key personas. The main one I personally saw the use case for was something like an Explain It Like I'm5, which was pretty simple to get ChatGPT or the OpenAI API to talk to you like you're a 5-year-old, or like explain it like you're very non-understanding of anything other than basic language. But yeah, so I wasn't super concerned with making it like fine-tuned for my current personas. And I think that finding maybe 5 like academic, a teacher type persona, Explain It Like I'm5, stuff like that. I think fine-tuning like 3 to 5 of those really useful ones I think could make sense. But the way I see it is I have 1 useful one and 4 fun ones. If that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to ask about a number I found very impressive, which was the 600 test cases, because
Yeah.
something that I look for every day is, improving and not diminishing code coverage. It is full end-to-end integration as well as unit testing. How much of that was generated versus how much of that do you feel like you went in and either had to edit what was generated or you wrote manually? Because I know there's definitely a push in industry to leverage more tooling for improving coverage. But
Mhm.
what I've seen in practice is improved coverage is not better coverage when it comes
Yeah.
to sources like that.
Yeah, for sure. I know exactly what you mean. A lot of it was generated and then edited because I would generate these tests, like make sure that this function is good, make sure these code bases are good, and then I would change something. And the AI wasn't very good at like fixing both parts of it, so I would have to manually change something and then manually go into the test and fix it. But yeah, I hope that the tests are good. Like my teacher reviewed the thing and said that everything was good, so I hope that that's good.
All right, awesome. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. So our time is up for the Q&A, but thank you so much for asking those insightful questions. I know that we find them very valuable, so thank you so much. I'll get the guest speakers to hop off now. And Dylan, thank you so much for your pitch as well. I wish I had something like this when I was reading papers on London University, so thank you so much. And I'll also get you to hop off. Now
Thank you,
we
everyone.
have Shirley presenting EasyFin. And we will get you up on stage and you're welcome to start whenever you're ready.
Hi everyone, I'm very happy to be here to present EasyFin app. My name is Shirley Alves. I have a bachelor degree in computer science and I'm transitioning from a career into the finance segment to software development. I bring a mix of analytical thinking, problem solving, and a very strong commitment with every project I work on. I'm very excited with this new path, so I'm looking for different type of opportunities, so internship, mentorship, or even a full-time job. Talking a little bit about EasyFin, the idea came from a problem that happened with me, and still happened with my family and friends as well. And everything started with a simple question. Have you ever wondered, where did all my money go? Unfortunately, it happened to me a couple of times. I need to be honest, going to my bank account and see that money's gone and have no idea what happened. Or even like strolling through the mall and see something cute that I want to buy and just wondering, can I actually afford that? And then the next thing I know, I'm juggling between 5 different apps, scrolling through endless statements, just to try to answer those simple questions. Honestly, for me, managing my money should not be a full-time job. And this is why I create EasyFin. EasyFin is a very simple tool that will allow you to know exactly where the money is going under 1 minute, and will also help the users to make smarter decisions with their money. There is a lot of different tools in the market that touch the same subject, but EasyFin is not a budgeting tool. So we're not here to lecture the user where to get coffees. EasyFin goal is to allow the user to understand how their spending habits might be holding them back into achieving their goals. The differential for EasyFin is the speed and simplicity. The user will connect their bank account only once, and from that moment on, they will always have a real-time insight into their expenses and know if they're on track or not. So no more complex setups, no more endless spreadsheets or statements. EasyFin will give you the answer right away. If you can go to the next step, thank you. So for steps on my project, I have a couple ones that I'm listing here. The first one is related to the dashboard. I implemented the auto zero authentication process to make it more secure on my dashboard. The next one is the dream section where I implemented MongoDB database. Bank account connection and transaction fetch I'm doing through the Blade API. Data analysis and database structuring I'm using Postgres. And the last one, the visual breakdown, I'm using React library with Shard. Through all my projects, I use React, Node, and Express. And for the deployment, I'm using Render. The next one is my demo. I hope you guys enjoy it. Hi everyone, this is EasyFin homepage. To access the dashboard, the user will click on sign in. He will go through the auto zero authentication process. I'm going to use my Google account here as an example. And then the user will be redirected to the main dashboard. I'm going to go back here one step because the user can create as many accounts as they want with Blade. This will allow the user to consolidate their expenses the best way that fit their need. So if the user wants to consolidate their expenses, I suppose, by the family, expenses or individual expenses. They are able to do that through the creation of the account. So I'm going to use here a family expenses account, for example, sign in, and then we have the main dashboard here. Once the user connect all the bank accounts related to their family expenses, he will have the main dashboard here with the charts, and the expenses are shown by month. So let's select a specific month in here, and we will be able to see the 3 different charts. The expense analysis show the total expenses by category. The income expenses show how healthy their expense habits are in relation to their income. And the bottom chart here is the top 5 expenses. It shows the top 5 vendors that were used in that specific month. The user has all transactions view. They has the 2 charts here on the top, and on the bottom we have a list with all transactions completed by the user on that specific month. If we go back to the main dashboard, on the bottom we have the dream session where the user can transform their dreams into goals, and then have a visual representation on how far they are from these goals. This information here can be updated as many times as the user wants. Let's suppose they save a little bit more money here for the specific goal. Then by updating here on the dashboard, you're going to see how far they are from achieving that specific goal. Hi everyone, this is it. So for takeaways and challenges, if you can go to the next slide, please. The main challenge for me is my project was dealing with the complexity. I'm using 2 different databases in 2 different APIs, so things could get messy and overwhelming very easily. So my approach was to break things down into smaller and simple tasks, and then instead of just trying to tackle everything at once. So I was only working in one task, testing, debugging, make sure everything was working on the next task. Organization was key for my project. So I was dealing with a lot of different files routes. So having a well-organized structure with clean code help a lot, especially on debugging. And for me, the takeaway for debugging is the earlier you find the issue and you fix it, the more time you save in the future and less stress you're gonna have as well. So the combination of these 3 topics definitely make my process faster. Can you go to the next slide? So what is next for EasyFin? EasyFin, the first one that I really want to focus on is that once the user starts saving money, I think the big next step is to know what to do with that money, how to make it grow, to achieve their goals faster. So this is why we want to implement the investment tracking feature. The saving goals automation is about to make sure that the user is always aware if they are on track or not. So I want to implement a notification system. Smart Insights with AI, it's a bot. I want to implement a bot where the user can have real-time interaction with it, ask questions, and maybe get some saving tips. And mobile app. EasyFin right now is a web application, but nowadays we know no one can really live without a cell phone, and having it on the cell phone will definitely make it easier for the user to manage their finances. So EasyFin is about give the user the control over their own money. I strongly believe that money should give us freedom, not stress. So this is why I create EasyFin. And with EasyFin, you will never have to wonder where your money is going again. I really appreciate your time and your attention. I hope you guys can scan my contact information so we can keep in touch. I would love to get any feedbacks and different ideas and discussions. I'm very passionate about this, so I would like to share more.
Awesome. Thank you, Shirley. It's great to see you present something that you're passionate about. It obviously comes through in your presentation. Well done. Thank you again. Guest speakers, you guys can join stage and you guys can jump in.
Okay, Shirley, that was great. That was a really interesting take on the problem, and I do like the very simple visualizations that you chose. It makes it much more accessible. I'm curious. I guess my first question is, what was it like using Plaid to try to extract the data?
I think in the beginning, my most struggle was to integrate AutoZero with Plat. Just because authorization and access to make sure that only the proper user were seeing the transaction information. So this was my main struggle. But from that moment on, to fetch the information, to be able, I'm retaining all the necessary information for an easy app. So I'm not doing like multiple fetches. So it is not the signing is not automatically calling, especially because I want to have on the customer. It will definitely increase the customer app. So yeah, so the moment, as soon as I figured out how to integrate those conversations, the rest was okay. And then I think Plate has a very good process of pagination. So I don't have duplicated data on my database. We have like the cursor and it has more, so we have a loop. So I can easily identify if I'm updated or not. And they have the web hook as well. So I don't need to do a fetch on the system. So they will let me know once we have new transactions for that user, and then I will do the fetch and only add the necessary information.
What do you see as the, you mentioned one of your next steps is to build a mobile app, which I totally agree with. I think anybody who wants to use this tool is going to want to use it on their phone. I can imagine being in the appliance store and looking lovingly at a new couch and saying, "Can I afford it?" So, what do you see as the main challenges for moving this experience onto mobile?
I think to keep things simple. So I really want the user to be able to open the app and know exactly what they're supposed for his phone. So in the app, everything's like little tiny, right? So how to make more accessible as well, so everybody's gonna be able to see the graph, the chart, the information properly. So I think this is my main concern moving to the app.
Okay. Yeah, I think building that mobile experience out so that it's not a lot of scrolling, not a lot of pages, is going to be key. So maybe take a look at the analytics on your website as people use it to see where the places that people go first, and you can use that as maybe a pointer to what you would do for a mobile app. And then my last piece of feedback is if you were going to expand this based on your bullet points that you showed us in your slides, I would start at the bottom and work up. Start with mobile. I think your first bullet point was expanding it to ETFs and crypto. I don't think that's your target audience for this product. I think that you're not going to go for sophisticated investors with this product. You're going to go for people who just want to find out where their savings are and can they afford that couch. So really focus on your user profile as you think about building this out. But great job. Love the visualizations. I think you've really nailed the how do I try to provide complex financial information really simply. So thank you.
Thank you so much. I really love your feedback. We'll take notes of everything and we'll definitely take that into account. Thank you.
I wanted to touch quickly on accessibility. We talked about it a little bit. I think, and this goes for all the presenters and everyone present, one thing that we don't focus enough on in front-end visual design is accessibility. We want to make sure that anyone with visual impairment has the ability to use anything that we build, because we want to build to the largest user base to make it, something that everyone can use. And one thing that I did notice is that there was some dark text on the purple background. So that might be something, if you start to look at, doing a light mode versus a dark mode, and all the apps have demonstrated something to that extent at this point. Just make sure that when you are changing those colors around, that everything is still highly legible, highly visible. So that's one piece of feedback that I would have. And then I'm also curious to hear, you talked a lot about the organization, how you were able to organize your code to be able to maintain these multiple data sources, the multiple API sources. I just wanted to know, could you get into a little bit more of the patterns that you followed in terms of organizing your code in a way that didn't allow it to get out of hand?
Yeah. So I think my first approach was always to break things down into modules. So I think it makes that very easily, especially when debugging. So I don't need to have to go through all my code to figure out where is the problem. So that was very key for me. Also, I was trying to always have a very clean code. I think it was funny because when the structure was saying about organizing and make your code clean, you just keep like, oh, it's okay, everybody is a standard, right? Everybody will say the same thing. But once you're coding and once you have like a bunch of different files and routes, and it makes such a huge difference. And it was, I don't know, it was a huge like eye open for me. It's like, oh well, this is very important. So it's not just like a teacher like just mentioning. So it makes it totally different. So that was good too.
Yeah, no, that's great insight, and I think for everyone, it can be very easy to lose yourself in your own code, and then as soon as you have to hand it to somebody else to do any sort of code review or any pair programming, it can be really challenging. So I think some of the exercises you took there, I think, are good learnings for everybody, as well as what was mentioned earlier when we were talking about Lucia's README, that kind of exercise of rebuilding from scratch. And something I do with every junior member that joins our team or senior member, any new member to the team, as you're going through the README, as you're setting everything up, call us out when we've missed things, because it's never going to be a perfect document. It's a living document. It's a living process. So just making sure that you're learning from each other as you go, I think is really important.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great feedback. So I work in finance, right? And I was an auditor at some point. So I'm a little bit obsessed with documentation to have everything there is there documented. So yeah, I do have all the documents.
Hey, Shirley, I loved your concept. I feel like I tried to build an Excel version of this when I was younger, just to basically get at what you're solving here. So definitely loved the visuals. I'm curious how you might think about scaling, as like financial data can get big really fast, especially with, if you were to expand into investment data and things like that. How might you scale your back end, whether it's across users or users who have a lot of transactions?
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking about like, I think horizontal scaling. I think that's the main option here. And I'll have it working with different instances. I'm deploying using Render, right? So they already have like the setup to add instances and manage them when they need it. So this is a big one. And also I will have to implement the Redis cache, just to make sure that all the common like fragments data is available like in a more structured way. Also, I think one thing that I also need to work on is create a managed queue for the webhooks. So we have them running asynchronous as well. So it will impact on how fast the user can access the information. I think these are the main things. I already structure like my database to use partitioning and indexes. So I think this will definitely help a lot for the escalation process. I think every financial tool needs to do a lot with the volume of data. We have a lot of data, right? One thing that I try to do, it only keep on my database the strictly necessary information what I'm using. So I don't have any, especially for security reason as well. So I don't have any sensitive data. So I don't have usernames, passwords. I don't have bank account information. So everything is on plate. Everything is auto zero. So I'm trying to really be very clear and strict, so to avoid any issues.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. Well, yeah, thanks. I loved your project.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I just want to, reiterate what everyone has said. I really loved your project, and what Maddie said, like your passion for this area came through. And again, it's what I believe, like software engineering is a wonderful profession because you can apply it to your passions. And it also seemed to me, I was just curious, as you're starting to think about, going out into the industry, are you thinking about being a full stack? Or it seems like you have like a lot of passion for the back end. I was curious if that's the case, or like where do you see yourself in the stack, and or maybe even where are you interested in going towards next?
I do love back end. Need to be honest about that. But I love the front end as well. So I would love to be able to do like a full stack, because then I have the opportunity to work with both worlds. So yeah, that would be like the ideal. But if next opportunity it's something just focus on front end or just focus on back end, I will definitely take on, because it's a learning curve from you, right? So everything I'm able to get into, experience, I think for me is going to be a growth process. So I'm in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shirley. I really, really loved your presentation and your pitch. And thank you to our guest speakers for asking such insightful questions, but also giving such great feedback. It's really something that's going to make EasyFit better. So thank you so much. I will get you all to hop off stage. And now we're going to have our last pitch, which is Hamza presenting EmoNest. So I will get Hamza to come up on stage, and you can start when you're ready.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to my nest. Let's take off on this emotional journey with EmoNest. Next, please. I'm Hamza Labib, engineer, game programmer, middle school mentor, and software development graduate from Circuitstream, and soon to be that. It could be within days, and this is really excited. And now that mix of skills and life change inspired me to create something powerful for next generation of future adults. Next, please. Why EmoNest? Let me start with a question. Do you have a coworker that's just hard to get with, or a family member who's always angry? All of these people were young children who didn't know how to regulate their emotions. Now imagine this situation. Your child storms into the room after school, drops their bag, and refuses to talk. It's not they are being difficult, they are overwhelmed. Young children feel so much, but they don't have yet the tools to explain what's going on inside. And for parents, it's really heartbreaking. You want to help, but you don't know how and where to start. Next, please. And this brings us to the solution, EmoNest. Actually, emotions are a two-way street. We want children to identify what they are feeling and parents to understand it. That's why I built EmoNest, to give children a safe space to explore their emotions and give adults to have the insight to support them. For the app I built for children, more check-ins with exclusive emojis, a friendly chatbot in a simple and child-safe language, calming stories where they are the hero, short animated videos to help them relax. And for adults, parents, teacher, or therapist, I built a dashboard to see their child mood history over time, review chatbot responses, track emotional patterns through clear and simple graphs and reports. This is how I built a meaningful future with emotionally regulated adults. Next, please. And now let's take a look at the demo of my app. Enjoy it. Now, this is the demo, and it leads us to explain how EmoNest works. I built EmoNest using React Native with Expo for smooth cross-platform development, and for backend, I use Node.js with MongoDB for scalable and secured and solid backend. For deployment, I relied on ES after several tries and error, ensuring updates roll out seamlessly. I used a couple of tools like Visual Studio Code, GitHub, Thunder Client to ensure a smooth user flow. And actually, this project became my playground to explore and leverage these technologies. Next, please. Now, let's jump into what it was like to build Immunest. Next, please. Actually, this journey began in week 0, driven by my self-passion, which is children mental health and children world in general. With just 4 weeks to bring Immunest to life, I knew I had to be focused. In week 1, it was about vision and planning. I defined the MVP to capture the app's core, emotional core, and outlined that two-way experience for both children and adults. Week 2 and 3, it was about building the core back-end, front-end. I designed clean and reusable components for speed and scalability. I developed the chatbot logic and implemented emotional check-ins engaging for kids. And I implemented mood tracking, authentication, and profile management. And for week 4, it was bringing to life. I really faced tricky logic bugs and solved it after hours of research and trials and error. And I troubleshooted the deployment issues to ensure stability. And actually, for this timeline, it was really an intense sprint that tested my adaptability, deepened my technical skills, and kind of proved my resilience. Next, please. And then for takeaways, let's talk about the challenges and the future. Let's go. For challenges, I faced real-time, real-world startup challenges, and I will share some of them. Like, first of all, balancing between emotional design with MVP without overbuilding, connecting front-end and back-end. It's really challenging for me every time. Fixing chat scroll-down issues to keep conversation smooth, replacing hard-coded with dynamic and reusable scripts. And finally, wrestling with deployment. I tried several ways to deploy the mobile app. I tried Netfly, Versal, but it ran into roadblocks because of single-page app configurations and missing redirects. And I also tried Expo Publish, but it was outdated and no longer supported. But this taught me to work lean, iterate fast, and to stay focused to deliver the app by trying and trying and trying. Next, please. And now for the future, the part I love most, the future of Immunest. This is where my little nest starts to spread its wings. And what's coming next is AI-powered and child-safe chatbot, push notification pop-up in the background, new comment activity like mini games, drawings, personalized stories with each child name and profile. And for the last 2 things, it's going to be about partnership and collaboration. Partnership with a beloved character like Bluey and Inside Out for deeper engagement for children. Expert collaboration with child psychologists to ensure everything is backed by science and empathy. Next, please. And now, this is the end. Thank you for listening. Immunest isn't just another app. It's a nest, a warm and safe space where little feelings are heard and little hearts grow stronger. I am Hamza Labib. Let's build something meaningful for the next generation. And here's QR code.
Great job, Hamza. Thank you so much. You're tackling a pretty important topic there, so I give you props for that. Guest speakers, for the last time, if you don't mind joining us up on stage, and we will get into Q&A. You guys can jump in whenever you're ready.
Thanks for sharing. I thought that was a really polished presentation, also just a really interesting idea. I'm curious, when you set out to build, did you conduct interviews with parents or kids? And if so, how did you go about structuring those to kind of define their user journeys?
Yeah, I asked my friends and my sisters because I am a cousin for like 6-7 children. So I asked them, I showed them the first feature, which is the emoji thing for like express their feelings without words. And they found it like, it's kind of understanding. My niece found this thing. It's around 5-6 years old. So she found this is interesting. And Yeah, this answer the question, or
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
yeah.
I thought that thank you for the beautiful presentation. The music, it definitely set it very much aligned with the goals of this project, which I think are it's a really wonderful value add. And the UI was really beautiful. I was just curious, I wasn't completely understanding the user experience, like the flow, like who is holding the phone? Is it the parent, the child? Who is pressing? Yeah, what does that whole UX, this experience look like? I'd love to
Okay, great.
understand that better.
Yeah, great question. Actually, it's gonna start with the parent create an account with his child or children. It's gonna be in the future for children, but we're gonna start with one child and connecting these accounts together. And the child gonna has his own tablet, his own mobile, and gonna have the homepage, which is chatbot, yeah. And then they're gonna have the emojis things. After pressing the emojis feelings, they're gonna have like stories or movie, short movie, animated movie, and all this chat messages or clicking on emojis for his feeling or her feeling. You're gonna send a report or a message for the parent to show what's going on with his child and see the pattern when he is sad, happy, and kind of these things. Yeah.
Gotcha, that makes sense. And it seemed like it was going to be for like quite young ages. So I was curious how you might think about like adapting the feature set to parents who are like comfortable with their like young children having their own phone versus like parents who are comfortable like with if the child has their own phone versus not. Because I know parents have a lot of different views across having young children have their own digital tooling.
Yeah, understand that question. Yeah. So I think the key is starting with making it simple, maybe something like this. So if it's simple, gonna be everything like clear. It's safe. Like there's just like safe chatbot like for just children, and parent can try it before adding a children, and could be like try to see the natural of movies or stories, what's going on in these activities. So gonna be kind of making a like small demo or maybe video for actual project with actual movies and stories to show parents before taking this decision to add the application for kids mobile. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And maybe something I was thinking about is like maybe even taking it to facilitate offline experiences as well. So like have it be a place like where emotions are shared and they can do online activities, but also perhaps it could facilitate like offline activities as well.
Yeah, there will be offline activities, but for reports and maybe it could be always offline activities like for like movies, like some of music it could be downloaded, the stories could be downloaded to offline version, and after like a parent would like to get like reports, he can like go online to send everything over online. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think just following on Hannah's point there, as the parent of a small child, actually part of the reason I could be here today is I'm actually on parental leave, so I didn't have to worry about taking a day off work. And a huge Disney fan. I caught the music in that trailer, and I'm hoping that experiences like yours and like others do help me with raising our son as he gets older. But I think just seconding what Hannah was saying, maybe there's maybe there's a way to build in, rather than, assuming a child will have their own device, for parents that are more, tech averse or device averse until a certain age, like we're actually kind of considering being on our side. Maybe something like what Netflix or YouTube do, where there's a separate experience that's tailored specifically to children within the same authenticated session. Could be something you look at, like a kids mode. And then the only other thing that I wanted to add as you take this forward is maybe, like, I don't know how comfortable I would be as a parent knowing that my child is sending messages to a chatbot. So maybe it is, looking at specifically tailored prompts as an evolution from just the emotion capture, might be like a staged approach to how you like age up the children through the experience, might be something to explore, as well as ensuring whatever you are capturing for parents. I know that I would be one wanting to know where the data is going, what's being retained, what's being used, if it's being used to, advertise or sell or anything like that. You never know with some of these experiences. I know you would build that way, but there will be parents that aren't as reassured. So making sure that you're looking at data integrity, following whatever provisions there are for the regions in which you'll operate the app. I know different countries have different rules. You'll want to make sure that navigating those data privacy waters, especially for children's content, will be a challenge, and I look forward to hearing more about how you tackle that.
Yeah, for this one, I used like a MongoDB database to have like full access, back-end logic. I can have full access to secure data. And for chatbot, for now, I just use fixed prompt answers, like very simple. But for future, it's gonna be a lot of work to have like version for children coming from chatbot, just for children, like YouTube, like these things. So it's gonna need a lot of work, and maybe AI engineer, or maybe I'm gonna study Google Cloud or something like this, Amazon. So yeah, it's gonna need a lot of work, and I focus on this point of view.
Yeah. I kind of like that you went to Google Cloud first. Most shops, they'll immediately jump to AWS, but we're primarily a Google shop. So hearing that first, it was kind of nice to hear that. I know it's not normally the first choice, but no.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Yeah, Hamza, great job here. I also had Mitchell's concerns about following the rules. As someone who has developed for children in the past in the US, following COPPA is a non-trivial exercise. I'm not sure where you are in the world, but watch out for those laws. And in fact, I would not just try to live up to them, but think about them and review them with respect to your entire application design and your security design, because it will trip you up with something that you didn't think of, particularly around things like data removal and data logging. So, but great product. I think a lot of possibilities there. Absolutely second also Mitchell's comment that a lot of 5-year-olds don't have their own devices. So make sure you don't build around that at all. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your questions. Thank you.
Awesome. So that was great. Thank you so much, guest speakers. You can still stay up, and I'll also invite the students back on stage as well to join the stage. And I just want to say a big thank you to our guest speakers for joining us today and taking the time out to provide that feedback to the students, as well as give them something new to think about. So thank you for doing that. And also a big congratulations to our graduates. So congratulations on the completion of your software development bootcamp. And I'm so excited about the future with you guys. So thank you so much. And all of your pitches were absolutely fantastic. So I'm super proud of you. And now I'll pass it back to Maddie.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. I would like to invite the guest speakers to share any last minute feedback or anything you would like to address with them. group of presenters. So if you have anything you'd like to say to the entire class, any congrats, any words of wisdom, any parting words, please go ahead and jump in now.
Yeah, I'll kick that off. I think I am really impressed by these projects. I think they were, I wasn't sure what to expect coming in here, and they were a lot more ambitious and a lot more fully functional than I was expecting. So you did a great job, guys, on all of these, and I would encourage you to think about the things that you have built now, and you know, whether those could have a life beyond school. So great job.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I'll second that. And seeing a lot of the tooling that I use every day, Redis, Netlify, React Native, it was really great to see all of those tools being used in varying degrees across the different projects. So do keep that up. Two things I'll leave you with. Going to school for software, I did not learn how to write code. I learned how to learn to write code. Having developed software for the last 10 years, it has changed immensely in the last 10 years. And especially as we're on the cusp of, or in the midst of a Gen AI, I'll say evolution. I don't want to say revolution. I don't think it's going to take over everything, but there's definitely going to be aspects of it that we're all going to need to know going forward. Do set yourself up to continue learning. It's not something that stops today. It's not something that stops at graduation. It's something I'm still trying to perfect 10 years into my career. The second piece of advice I'll leave you with is never say no. Right? You're given a challenge. You're given an objective. You're given some requirement that doesn't really make sense in the moment. Don't say no. Go figure it out. You've got the tools, especially with all of these, you know, a lot of the Gen AI tooling and just Google being as relevant as it is, or expansive as it is. There's no reason to say no. Continue to grow, continue to learn, and give yourself opportunities to find that niche that you'll find yourself in by continuing to say yes.
Yeah, thanks everyone for sharing. It was really wonderful to see all the hard work you all put into these projects, and yeah, echoing a lot of the comments already made thus far, but really exciting to see a lot of frameworks and tools that are used in the professional sphere. So kudos to you all, congratulations. I would just say, you know, as you look towards your future in software engineering, keep working on things that you're passionate about. More often than not, you're gonna spend the time to work on those things because you care about them, and you'll always learn something along the way. So definitely keep working on those things that you're passionate about. And also a big part of software engineering is also being able to communicate with non-technical colleagues. So as you're doing that, continuing to show your friends and show your family, like, you know, how you built something and why it matters, and being able to bridge the gap between your technical skills and your real life skills is also super important. So really excited to see what's next for you all.
I definitely second what Casey just said about, you know, coding is just a part of being a software engineer. A lot of it is communicating to non-technical folks, also to other technical folks. It's about sharing your code, getting feedback, giving feedback on code, thinking about architectural decisions. There's a lot more. And I want you to also feel like really accomplished by what you've done so far. Like, this is really amazing. You know, like coming out of code school, you have done a lot. You've learned a lot of tools. You've learned, as Mitchell said, like how to, you know, debug in those tools when you got lost or didn't know something. And then, you know, you'll learn so much with your first job and also with every subsequent job. You know, it's just a constant learning process. And that's one of the things I love about this career that I've chosen, that you've chosen to enter, that you're just always constantly learning. So stay grounded in you know what you've achieved so far, and just know that it will be a natural process to keep learning as you enter industry.
Amazing. Thank you so much to our guest speakers. I feel like students, I would like to second what Casey and Hannah were saying. If you can communicate to non-technical folks, like myself, you're doing well, and I understood everything that was going on today. So congratulations again. Give yourselves a huge pat on the back. And to our 4 guest speakers today, thank you for volunteering an hour and a half out of your week. I know that this is not insignificant. You all, as we heard, have incredible careers and jobs, and I'm sure very busy calendars. So thank you again. We can't run these without you. And I know that some of the insights you shared, I could see in our students' faces that it's things that they've never thought of, and I'm really lucky to have you. So thank you again. Congrats, everyone. And we can go ahead and end there. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and I will be in touch with you all very soon. Thanks, guys. Great job today.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.